All right, let's do a little what's more likely. Super Wild Card Weekend edition, Chris.
Oh,
We'll begin with
baby.
the first game.
Super Wild
1 o'clock
Card,
Eastern
baby.
on Saturday.
You haven't made fun of that this week or anything. I'm surprised. That seems to be like that would be in your wheelhouse to make fun of that. Okay, fine. No comment. Let's move on.
Colts at Bills to start the weekend. Phillip Rivers has no interceptions, or Josh Allen has 3 or more total touchdowns. What's more likely?
Oh, well, this one's one of the more easier ones that Pete Dimmalitalitis has ever put in here. I'm definitely going with Josh Allen, 3+ total TDs. I mean, I would never bet in anything to say Phillip Rivers is going to throw 0 interceptions, especially a playoff game where things are going to be tight. So, no, Allen is on fire. I could easily see him have 2 touchdowns, throwing, 2 running, whatever combination you want to get. And, yeah, I don't totally trust Phillip Rivers that way, so I'm going with Allen 3+ total TDs.
I'm still intrigued, and we'll be talking about this, and we'll be making our official selections later today for the Joint Mega Picks podcast, PFTPM and Chris Simms Unbuttoned. Will the Colts be able to crack some sort of a code, keep Josh Allen on the sideline drinking Gatorade,
I hear you.
Use Jonathan Taylor to slow the game down, take the full 40 seconds, Phillip Rivers, savvy veteran, safe throws, not taking any chances, not making that stupid mistake in what could be his last career game.
Right.
A lot of potential last career games coming up this weekend, whether it's Ben Roethlisberger, Phillip Rivers, Drew Brees, or Andrew Whitworth. But I still think Josh Allen will do Josh Allen things. With 6,700 fans present, it's his opportunity to connect with Buffalo fans for the first time this year in a game setting at home. It's all been pointing to this. And remember last year when we talked about the Bills unleashing Josh Allen as a runner in the playoffs, and they did. I'm still eating bits of that acorn that the blind squirrel found last year. Expect it again. Josh Allen unleashed. You don't have to do it this year because as a passer, he's a hell of a lot more potent.
Yeah, right.
But if the opportunity is there to take off, he's going to take off because he's big and he's fast and he's strong, and you don't want to get in his way.
No doubt about it. It's a joker card they got there with his ability to do that stuff. They will run Lamar Jackson type of game plan runs every now and then. And you're right, in every big game, and especially last year early in the playoffs where you were at 100% right, you called it. They used them in a lot of different ways. Remember, he had a huge long run down the right sideline. They had the quarterback throwback trick play where he caught a pass for a touchdown. So, and we've seen Buffalo this year really become second to New England and the team that'll run the most trick plays in the game. They're not afraid to do it. They don't give a damn if they're, hey, we're executing great. We've got another play you got to worry about. Here you go. Trick play. You're screwed. So that's why they're fun to watch. And your aspect about the Colts and their ability to run the ball lately behind that O-line and that running back, I think is a very fair question. Very good question, Mike. I'm going to be interested to see maybe if they take that approach.
Another angle to keep an eye on, there's an increasing sense that Brian Daboll, the Buffalo offensive coordinator, is going to get the job in Houston, and that could make this Bills team feel even more compelled to finish the job the right way. Next year, things could be very different offensively.
Definitely.
Let's see it through to the end because Daboll is likely going to be rewarded. Not likely. I don't know what the word properly is. Quite possibly will be rewarded.
Seems that
for
way.
what he's done this year by becoming the head coach of the Houston Texans. Rams at Seahawks. What's more likely? Russell Wilson has 2 or more passing touchdowns or 2 or more interceptions, Chris?
Wow. I mean, I don't see him having some huge day of like 2, 3, 4 touchdown passes, not against this Rams defense. But I'm going to go with the 2+ passing touchdowns if I have to pick either one. Russell Wilson, really ever since that first Rams game where they lost 23-16 in L.A., and they lost the game because he threw 2 interceptions and I believe fumbled once too, he has been ultra conservative with the football ever since then. To a point, Mike, where he was scarred by that game is what I'm saying. Even like when I watch back Rams Seahawks Week 16, there was a few plays and throws in the game where I go, cut it loose, throw it. He's open, like throw it. But I think he just didn't quite like it. And if he's not 100% sure then he's going to take the conservative approach. That's what he's going to do right now. I think he realizes the way the defense is playing and all that, so I'm going to go with the 2+ pass TDs.
Yeah.
It's a tough one.
I'm going to agree with you, but between Aaron Donald and Jalen Ramsey,
I
we
know
saw what Jalen Ramsey's been able to do to DK Metcalf. I'll reluctantly agree, but I don't feel real good about it because I think it could be more likely that he throws a couple of interceptions, even if he throws them early and then later overcomes it, right? Which we've seen him do in the playoffs in the past.
Definitely.
Buccaneers at Washington Saturday night. What's more likely? Tom Brady has 3 or more passing touchdowns, or Chase Young has 2 or more sacks.
Ooh, this is one where I look at it and both could happen very easily. That's for sure. I'm going to go with Brady in the 3+.
Chase Young doesn't have a multiple sack game all year though.
That's kind of interesting. I don't picture it that way because again, that's where stats are a little different because it's just he F's the play up a whole lot. And damn, when you watch a game, you just go, gosh, is he living and camping next to the quarterback? So that is an amazing stat. But I still, even with that, I'm going to go with Brady with the 3+ pass TDs. They have such a big, powerful offensive line. They pass protect really well. They go out of their way to keep extra guys in, like we've talked about a lot, Mike, where they'll keep 6 men in to block 4 guys. They don't care. So now Brady feels comfortable, and he's going to dice you up. And the way he's throwing and that offense is going, I'm going with Brady.
The back and forth between Chase Young and Tom Brady is fascinating.
It is cool.
Chase Young tried to back off yesterday, and Tom Brady, he's a great young player. Look, Tom Brady's not going to say anything until it's time to get on the field, and then he's going to say everything. And if he throws a touchdown pass or if he eludes Chase Young to emerge and throw a key first down, you're going to see Tom Brady letting Chase Young hear about it because we know that's how Tom Brady is. Chase Young, by the way, both the NFC Defensive Player of the Month and the NFL's Defensive Rookie of the Month, and it's just a matter of time before he's the NFL's Defensive Rookie of the Year, so congratulations to him.
I love his attitude, though.
Yeah. What?
I just love his attitude.
Chase?
I like that, he's a little bit more vocal in your face. Hey, defensive players, you're not here to make friends and give, offensive players, bouquets of flowers and things. Intimidation and all that is part of the game. And that's where, I like that aspect of him where he kind of welcomes it all. Sorry to interrupt you.
I really enjoyed sitting with him and talking to him at the scouting combine back before the world turned upside down, while you were unavailable because you were violently ill.
Yeah.
Thank you. We need to have that video of you making the exit with the trash can. We need to have that on speed dial to roll in whenever this comes up. But he just gets it. He gets it. Some of these guys aren't mature. He's got that maturity. He's got that wisdom. He's got that business sense. He gets it. He has confidence ultimately in his abilities. And, look, I don't know that there's enough around him to make a difference against Tampa Bay, but this is a great, great development for a Washington franchise that will have Chase Young creating havoc like this for years to come. Ravens-Titans, that is the first game on Sunday. What's more likely? Baltimore has 200 or more rushing yards, or Derrick Henry has 150 or more rushing yards on his own.
Wow. Man, that's another good one. Man, Pete's on fire today. These are tough ones. I'm going to go with Baltimore has 200-plus rushing yards. If I have to pick one or the other, I am. First time they played, I know Derrick Henry had 133 yards. Came in it wasn't like a consistent crushing. It was a little bit like, man, run for nothing, rip off a run for 15. And then we had the 30-yard run in overtime, right, and all those things. Let's not forget, the Baltimore Ravens had no Calais Campbell and no Brandon Williams in that football game either. And I just got to think the Ravens got to go all out to stop that aspect, or they have no chance. Because if he starts running, then it's going to be A.J. Brown and Corey Davis, play action passes, bombs away, all of that. So I'm going to take Baltimore with the 200-plus rushing yards, even though I don't feel necessarily crazy good about that either.
Baltimore's had 200 or more rushing yards in 4 of their last 5 games. They had only 129 against Tennessee in that Week 11 loss. Last year in the playoffs, Derrick Henry had 195 against the Ravens, and he didn't do the stiff arm to Earl Thomas. Earl Thomas didn't give him the chance to do so. Earl Thomas turned and ran away from Derrick Henry, or he would have been
top 10
on
safety
that
in
chain
football.
Yes, and available to anyone who needs to sign him for the playoffs. He's available, if you haven't heard. He's been available all year. Top 10 safety in football, still available to be signed by anyone who's looking for help. It's amazing that none of these playoff teams have pounced on a top 10 safety in football. Next up, Bears at Saints. What's more likely? Khalil Mack has 2 or more sacks of Drew Brees, or Drew Brees has 3 or more passing touchdowns, Chris?
Wow, Drew Brees having 3 or more passing touchdowns. I think, I could see them slowly carving up this Chicago defense. It's going to be interesting. I do think it's, the start of the game could be something here with Chuck Pagano, Sean Payton, to see just, does he have a good feel? Is it going to be one of those days where, like we saw the Rams and the Vikings do, we knew in those games against the Saints early on, we were like, whoa, they're making life hard on this. Doesn't look like the same old Saints. And I think we always kind of have a feel sometimes with them, like pretty early, where you can go, oh, this is one of the days where it's going to be tough. And then sometimes you see days where you just go, oh, they got it. Peyton's cracked the code. Drew feels good. Everything's good all there. But I'm going to go with Drew, definitely. Khalil Mack, still really awesome football player, but not as dominant, a little bit more underwhelming than, I would like as the superstar player he's supposed to be.
Back in Week 8, when the Bears and the Saints played in Chicago, Brees had 2 touchdowns and Mack had 1 sack of Brees. The last game of the weekend, Browns at Steelers, NBC and Peacock. What's more likely? Baker Mayfield has 2 touchdowns / no interceptions, or Ben Roethlisberger has 2 touchdowns / no interceptions?
Well, I'll go with Big Ben. I mean, we know they're going to throw the football. It's not a great defense for the Cleveland Browns. The Steelers can't run it in from inside the 5-yard line, so that's going to lead to touchdown passes and all that. And, of course, yes, it is the Pittsburgh defense and all they do, and they create turnovers and interceptions. So if I'm picking one, I'm going to go with Ben Roethlisberger, has 2 TDs, no interceptions.
I agree with you. I feel like this is such a tough spot for Cleveland. And yes, could they rise past all of this adversity? They could. You can't rule it out. They've been through so much. This is gravy for them. They should have no pressure on them whatsoever going into this game. But I think Ben Roethlisberger, yet another guy that sees his career possibly ending if they would lose. I think he's going to rise above that. One more from the Browns-Steelers game. Defensive side of the ball. What's more likely? Myles Garrett has 2 or more sacks for the Browns, or TJ Watt has 2 or more sacks for the Steelers?
Oh, that is a good one. I'm going to go with Myles Garrett. I am. Just because I think TJ Watt's got to worry about the run game and everything like that. There's a lot more to worry about on that side of the ball. He does drop into coverage sometimes, where Myles Garrett just gets to rush the passer all the time. And just like we just said, Pittsburgh's going to drop back 40-something times to throw the football. And so I would think he gets, a chance at a handful there. Just can he get the sack? So if I'll pick there, I'll go Myles Garrett.
Yeah, you know what? I agree with you as well, especially because there's going to be so much urgency on that defense to step up. You don't have Kevin Stefanski there to call plays offensively. There's going to be a greater urgency for the defense to make a difference to keep the Browns in the game.
Let me ask you one question, if you don't mind. Like, what's more likely? Who is more likely to come back next year out of Rivers, Brees, and Big Ben? How do you kind of put that pecking order there together if you had to rank it?
I'd say Ben is most likely to come back.
Mm-hmm.
Rivers 2, Brees 3.
Okay.
What do you think?
Yeah, I agree with you with Ben, and then the other ones where I'm a little flipped there. Because I guess a little bit is depending on how these guys do. I don't know. I feel like there's somehow that Drew Brees is going to want to come back, and I'm going to play Drew 2, Rivers 3. That would be how I look at it, but very close there.
But if the Saints don't want Drew Brees,
I know.
And if he hasn't already gotten that message, maybe they'll make it more obvious to him later. He's not going to go play for someone else.
I know.
Rivers, here's the question. And I didn't think he would find someone who was willing to immediately install him as the starter after the performance we saw last year with the Chargers, frankly. He has to find someone who is willing to say, you're the guy. Here's another $25 million or $23 million or whatever million based upon the reduction in the salary cap due to the pandemic. Here it is for you to continue playing football. And the other side of it is, will there be a network out there that is throwing half that amount, 60% of that amount, who knows, at Phillip Rivers to come be their next top analyst. There's already been some reporting that networks are watching Phillip Rivers, and I think he would be great.
I agree.
I think he'd be great. His manner of speaking.
Oh, shucks, gosh, jolly D. Jarn, how did he do that? That's, he would be great. You're right.
It's almost like if you can't get Peyton Manning, you get Phillip Rivers. And I'm telling you, there's a way with Phillip Rivers that it could fall that he could be better than any of them. Where's the next John Madden? In a weird sort of way, with the dadgummits and the gosh darns and his passion for the game.
Yeah.
And I think he will communicate very well because the best thing about John Madden, I know we're going to take a break. The best thing about John Madden was he didn't communicate about the game in a way that alienated the casual fan that doesn't understand the secret code of football guys.
Right.
Too many people get in the booth and they want to impress people by showing that they know the secret code of football guys, the double-A gap and crossing the face and all of that crap that alienates the casual fan. Phillip Rivers would never do that.
Hi, I'm Mike Tirico, and thanks for watching. Make sure to hit subscribe for the latest news and highlights from NBC Sports.